Hi, you're trapped in here with me. I have made a PowerPoint going over a brief history of Sonic.Exe and his many variants across the entirety of this year, 2024 as of this recording. Hi, I'm Aerorain, or Eoline Shiro. This is stupid. Anyways, let's get on with this. So, Sonic.Exe, what is it? It is a creepypasta that was made in 2011 by JC the Hyena. Despite being written as a creepypasta, it was very cliche and didn't make a lot of sense if you thought about it for too long. This poorly written story would end up getting a massive fan base. So, Sonic.Exe himself. He looks like the character Sonic the Hedgehog, but with some key differences. Instead of white, he has black eyes with red glowing pupils. He's got blood coming from his eyes, he's got a toothy grin smile with pearly whites. He also likes killing people, preferably Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, Amy, Cream, Sally, basically anybody he can get his hands on. Yikes. That's not good for Sega's rep. Of course, that's the default everybody thinks about. So, this guy specifically is made by JC the Hyena. This is Sonic.Exe 2011. He's actually called X. Okay. He's got gray shoes. He's bisexual. Preferably men. He has a crush on Sonic. He's born from the void. He has a cult called the Cult of X. He's evil incarnate apparently, and implied to be freaky towards his victims. Am I gonna talk about this? No, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. And this is the 2017 reboot of that same character, except a whole lot worse. He's got mostly blue fur, he's able to absorb souls, he's very Werehog inspired. I barely see it, but okay. He's a devoted Sonic fan. He's said to apparently be a more realistic interpretation of the creepypasta. He also killed an entire high school, Tom and Kyle included. Oh yeah, Tom and Kyle are like two main characters set within the Sonic.Exe universe. Yeah. Were these interpretations of the characters good? No, they were not. Even though they were initially well received within the creepypasta community, the story and Sonic.Exe himself received mockery and negative reception. This was because of the overuse of horror cliches and genuinely poor writing. It got removed from the creepypasta wiki and moved onto the trollpasta wiki, a wiki made for intentionally bad pastas. 2017 was more hated due to his humanoid-like design with a few bizarre writing choices. One of them literally had Fiona Fox, an Archie Sonic character, hung by strings with autopsy stitches. The original description of her was a lot more worse. Thankfully, they aren't canon anymore. In August of 2021, JC was exposed for abusive and predatory behavior towards minors alongside his ex-girlfriend who he emotionally abused and conditioned into believing such behavior was acceptable. Stay with me here, this is very important. After this, he left both creepypasta and Sonic.Exe communities, and ownership of Sonic.Exe was transferred over to Shay, who's the owner of Xenophanes, and Joe Doughboy, owner of Lord X and Sola Sonic. Now, the community over time has made their own retakes and interpretations of the Sonic.Exe mythos, and we are going to get into the meat of it. So, we're going to start off with the Legacy EXEs. Now, Legacy EXEs, what are they? These EXEs consist of EXEs for fan games and animations, usually with their own story to tell, which range from the early 2013s to 2019. During this time, the best way to make each EXE different from one another was a different shade of blue. First, we're going to start off with Sonic.Exe by MY5T Crimson, or just commonly known as Crimson X for this guy, this blue goober. This version of Sonic.Exe was made purely to adapt the game, not the creepypasta. He's the antagonist of both Sonic.Exe and Sally.Exe. He's originally canon to the creepypastas before things went south. He was in a lot of... he had a lot of fan games including him, and then Sally.Exe is his girlfriend. Yeah. That's his legacy. Wow. Good. Next we got Anti-Sonic.Dill by Potter and Matrix fan. He's an obscure character featured in a Sonic Generations mod where he replaces Sonic and the Shadow Rival fight is replaced by Sonic.Exe, who more looks like Sonic Boom.exe. He's the exact opposite of Sonic.Exe and he tries to save potential victims. He also inspired another EXE in terms of design. Good on him. Good on him. Alright, so next up on our list, we got Exasior from the Nightmare Universe by Jay-Z Kois. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, but what can you do? Exasior, or Executor, is the overarching antagonist of the Sonic.Exe Nightmare Universe. Unlike the original, he's an archdemon of sharpness. He was made in 2017. He's got darker blue fur, akin to more modern Sonic. He's got a ripped eye due to blood irritation. Those are rips. Those aren't eyelashes. You are just seeing things. He has a different goal than just killing people. He actually demonizes Mobians and helps protect help Mobius against the Highest, which is essentially just God. He's got a based first game, but the lore gets complicated later due to simulations, timelines, good and bad endings. Yeah, there's a lot going on with this dude. I say that because he also got a lot of colorful blue buddies. So Nennigan is a wave demon who takes the form of a blue supersonic. He is also a servant and friend to Exasior. Man, I'm gonna confuse that name a lot. His name is a palindrome, so basically, you spell his name backwards, you get the same exact thing. He's inspired by Anti-Sonic.Dill. Wow. Most of his servants are hypnotized Mobians. He's also worn a dress, but that's mainly due to him trying to figure out why some characters wear clothes, some don't. Now, Pervision is a depraved scientist who's also a servant of Exasior. He's intelligent, he's the most polite out of the demons, but he's still pretty cruel. His face is actually gutted, and it only shows one eye. He's also canonically never touched the ground. Now we got Chaos Hunter, or Junter, is Sonic and Exasior combined after a failed good ending in the Nightmare Universe. He's insane and blames Exasior for ruining his life. He collects emeralds and Knuckles' souls. Knuckles specifically, mainly because he has more connection to the emeralds than anybody else. You can also gaslight any Sonic within the timeline. So basically, whenever Chaos Hunter speaks, Sonic will speak the exact same thing and think that that's his thoughts. He's also gonna die if he kills Exasior, which he wants to do. It was explained in a what-if scenario, and he vaporized Exasior. He was happy for a moment, and then he turned into a pile of bones. Yeah. Now, Sark is the secondary antagonist of the NU, and the community also hates him, with good reason. He takes the role of the original X in the NU, specifically JC's Sonic.Exe. He hates Christmas, and he's literally the worst EXE out there. If you know, you know. Next, we go into Exceller, made by Dan Huna 2526, also known as Dan the Patient Bear. Now, Exceller is a zero-class highest who serves as the primary antagonist of Sonic.Exe Spirits of Hell and Sally.Exe Whispers of Souls. He was also made in 2017, but he was cursed with rage and insanity, hence why he kills to keep it in check. His spirit animal is a hedgehog, so he can only possess hedgehogs. He uses more mod gen sprites. That's like the only way you can tell the difference between him and every other Sonic sprite out there. He's got light blue fur more than darker blue. His arms also get slightly tanned as well when possessing Sonic. He can make clones, but each is weaker than the last. His personality, it's more based on Kefka from Final Fantasy and Joker from Batman. His true form also just looks like a dude, so truly the most unique form for a Zero Class Highest to have. Next, we go into Chaos by Hamster Man, the god of destruction seen in the upcoming game Sonic.Exe The Stone of Darkness and the playable game Sonic.Exe Disaster 2D. He was made in 2018. This is literally just Chaos possessing Sonic's body. He's not entirely self, as the game states for the Stone of Darkness. He literally got brain wiped by the Stone of Darkness, and now he's evil. Just because. He becomes more powerful with the more souls he takes and kills. He's also pretty dripped out in Sonic.Exe Disaster 2D, which you can see on the top picture, where that's his emote, where he just has drip. Honestly, kinda based. Next, we got Sonic.Exe by Bratwurst/Torrent. He's the main antagonist of the Sonic.Exe trilogy and the upcoming Sally.Exe trilogy. He's currently on his own quest for power. It was made in 2016 and was supposed to be in Versus Sonic.Exe. We'll get into that. It was a mix of, he may be a mix of Sonic's DNA and Metal Sonic, and actually may be a creation of Eggman. The current whereabouts about the real Sonic is unknown, but he gets multiple forms the more souls he possesses, as seen from this little timeline thing here that I said. We got the base, we got him after killing everybody, and we also got this on the far right after getting not yet anyways, Amy and Cream, along with everybody else, except for Sally. However, he does have one last form that's pretty big. His threshold form is very big, big as in like kaiju big. This thing could probably take on Godzilla if it tried. Maybe. I don't think it's winning. Now we also have Sonic.Exe by Dead Graphic. Wow, raise your hand if Sonic.Exe is your name, there's a lot of them. He's a creation error that found the world of Sonic. That's literally what it is. It was made in 2017, question mark. I looked through and that was the closest I can get. He's a sprite animation character, so he fights a lot. He fights a lot of characters, including Goku, Black, and Lord X. He fought Metallix and ended up trapped in the Chaos Emerald. Wow. Just wow. Can you hear me clapping? Wow. Next we got Sunky.mpeg by Looney Dude. He's canonically the strongest in the EXE verse, but he prefers to use his power to give people cereal and milk and also throw dance parties. He is actually a parody EXE. He was made in 2015. Now, he is a god. You cannot overthrow him. He is limitless. Sunky is everything. He also occasionally sunk, so that's cool. Next we got, oh yeah, Five Nights at Sonic's. This is what happens when you turn an inside joke into a game. Yeah, in case you couldn't tell, it was very FNAF inspired. It replaces the FNAF crew with a mix of Sonic and Mario characters. Now, there's a lot of games. There's 27, including remakes, DLCs, and one-offs. Also, half of the characters are clones. It doesn't get better than this. Next, we also got Sonic.Exe from Sonic Villains. He is set to appear in the film as a hypothetical Sega take of Sonic.Exe, who is actually a computer virus made by Eggman. It was made via prior knowledge, chaos energy, and Sonic's DNA. He mainly hacks electronic devices to use against a former user, like if he could just hack your iPhone and it basically try and kill you. He personality-wise, he's completely twisted and cunning. He shapeshifted into Fatal Error and Rewrite in the reveal trailer. We'll get into those later. Now, with all of this said, the EXE fandom was doing relatively alright. Not that big, but it's not small enough to be forgotten. But that would all change within the FNF boom. The FNF boom. What the fuck is that? In August 22, 2021, an FNF mod released by Rightburst_Ultra and directed by Saster and Commando Dev. This mod represents both the EXE community and Sonic horror in general. This single-handedly brought both good and bad to the EXE community. Now, about the mod itself. 1.0 of vs Sonic.Exe included 3 main opponents, that being Sonic.Exe, Majin Sonic, and Lord X. 1.5 introduced one more opponent, being Sunky. 2.0 added whopping 7 opponents, bringing the total up to 11. There was also a cancelled build, but no one cares about that. But that would have added like 6 more characters, plus a whole lot more, because there was a lot of scrapped ideas, and those didn't really go far. But yeah, you get the idea. There was supposed to be a lot more. Despite the abrupt end of the mod, the community was at its high point. Despite problems behind the scenes that eventually led to the cancellation of the mod, the creation of the EXE community skyrocketed. Different EXEs were being made by the day, each more unique than the last. However, even with its massive amount of good, there were also the few in the community that weren't the best. But that didn't stop people from making EXE content ranging from analog horror, fan games, comics, etc. I am losing my voice here. I am so sorry if I butcher anything, but at this point we're just gonna keep the ball rolling. We've now reached our golden age of EXEs. Around this time, the community thrived with the different takes of the bloody blue murder ball. The way they are presented differs from sprite animations, fan games, analog horror, Twitter, any website. There's bound to be a Sonic.Exe take that spawned from there. They're all spawned out through 2020 through 2023. I say this because some of them were hard to pinpoint creation dates for some of them. I can't talk about all of them because that would just make the video extremely long. So I will just list some notable and personal favorites. So first up, we got Needlemouse by Shut Up Jojo. Needlemouse, there was supposed to be a name there, but oh well, is the main antagonist of the Analogs web series of the same name. Her real name is actually Sarah Henderson. She's a very flawed character. She might be controlled by another entity. Go watch the series yourselves. She hates Luther, the primary victim of the Tails vessel. The series got rebooted into Speed Duo 64, and she's female. This is the main reason why we can't have female EXEs anymore. Some of you need to control yourself. Bad. Next we got Xterion by Gojo Boy. He serves as one of the protagonists for the upcoming Sonic Jam discoveries. He's a former Sega employee who wound up in the fictional game after being overworked and overdoing energy products. He was planned for Sonic.Exe and one of the cancelled updates. He's really good at golf. He knows a lot about the Sonic lore, whether the original plan or the Sonic Bible, he knows it all. He has a daughter called Marilyn who plays a very, She plays a very interesting part in the story. And his head, the Sonic head, is actually based off Ultraman. I have no idea what that is, but very cool. Very cool. Next we got Sonic.Raw by Randy Desu. Man, these guys' names are just great. Love you all. He's a powerless byproduct spitted out of the EXEs. His objective is to live up to the name Sonic.Exe in his universe. He's got no powers at all. He doesn't even have Sonic speed. He's more emotional than most EXEs. He's known as 97 Dork by Needlemouse. He smokes a lot, but that's just due to stress. He's weak to anything, and EXE's forceful attack, so you can literally just punch him, I guess, and you'd instantly win. He's very crafty, as seen with his shoes, gloves, and gadgets. So, because he doesn't actually look like Sonic.Exe, he has to improvise, so there's dirt on his shoes, there's some mud on his hands to imitate the blood, and yeah, it's a bunch of makeup as well, and then the glasses are just there to represent the whole EXEI thing. He also has a human variant, which is very One Piece inspired. I'm pretty sure you all can find it, it's fine. Next, we got Fatal Error by Anorak Warriors. I gotta take my time to read these names. He's a powerful and malicious AI hiding within a corrupt Sonic vessel, along with a few others, that wishes to be more powerful than Fatal Prime and all the EXEs. The gender is British according to the Oddities wiki. I am so sorry if that is wrong, please correct me in the comments. He's become less of an EXE in recent years as the character himself, not the Sonic vessel, has become more intertwined with other games as well. He can also be bolder than the Empire State Building in his final form. I actually do have a picture of this. Yeah, this is the Empire State Building, and this is Fatal Emperor Sonic. Wow! Alright, so next we on the list, we got KamiyaMizuki.oob by James Prowers. She is a 23-year-old girl who got murdered by her former classmates, revived and chosen to be a next creator in order to maintain her own reality that is now desynced from other timelines or realities. She's 4'9" in her human form. She's not an EXE, but a human who has to revolve around EXE as a concept instead of the entity. OOB actually means out of bounds. She's somewhat of a kudere, who doesn't show a whole lot of emotion, and her hedgehog form is actually based on Kagura from the Seran Kagura series. That is also another anime that I have not seen, but I will plan on getting to soon. She's very cool. That's all I have to say. Mizuki is very cool. Next, we got Sonic.Exe by Kayura16. Now, his lore is actually being rewritten and with the continuation and remake of his game, so we don't have a whole lot, but we do have a bit of a small facts. He's one of the only EXEs with one eye. He's more energetic than his brother CYN and Sonic Edible ROM. Also, Markiplier played his game. Wow! Next we got Sonic.Exe by GigaGoku30. A virus that is in a corrupted Mega CD who mimics Sonic around his friends to learn all about them and their fears to use against them all. He was made in December 10th, 2020. I don't know why that was very specific, but it's there. He was made as a reinterpretation of the original creepypasta and the sequel. He was also involved in a tweet by Jodo Boys about having a Hall of EXEs. Kind of like a Hall of Fame thing, I guess, but yeah. Next we got Demogiri and Gradios. Demogiri was an angel and Gradios was a reaper. Gradios ripped off Demogiri's rings and corrupts him. Gradios escapes. No, I think that's supposed to be Demogiri. Oops. Demogiri escapes and hides in Sonic 2's code. The EXE variants of them are actually timeline splits of the main story. Demogiri smells like rancid licorice and frail and weak. Well, his body is frail and weak. Gradios' blood type is polka dot. And both of them were actually inspired by the NES Godzilla creepypasta. Good on them. Good on them. Next, we got Disc.CD by Neo Misfits. He's the embodiment of karma who enforces his ideals upon those who he believes aren't living up to the standards they should up to be. Yes, that is exactly how English works. Now, his power is pretty dependent on who he's chasing. He's blind, but he can use echolocation. He actually has an entire light novel you can read here. Yeah, I will link the PowerPoint in the description, so y'all can take a look for it for yourselves. I may or may not go fix some of the changes here, but yeah. At this point, we're too far into the recording to skip it now. So anyways, next we go on to Hog and Scorch. First created by Jack Gore, now owned by Draggy? Yeah. Hog comes from an unauthorized knockoff of Sonic the Hedgehog created by Giga, which affected Sonic's universe in a horrifying way. Now Sonic desires revenge on the person trying to copy it. Now, Hog is a Tenric, not a hedgehog. Get it right. Scorch is actually 15.7 feet. Why? Hog actually hates Scorch with a burning passion. Scorch can actually increase his body temperature to the point where you'll just die from direct contact. Well, they don't call him Scorch for nothing. And Scorch forced Hog to kill his knockoff allies. Yeah, there was like an entire picture set of that, but couldn't fit it all on one slide now. Next we got I Spy from Cadet Trilogy. I think that's how it's pronounced. Anyways, he's actually an ambassador of the Black Eye species. That is not to be confused with the Black Arms. The Black Eye is its own separate alien race. He fights for the protection and survival of his people. He actually fought against the Metarex and the Zorda. Those are real Sonic aliens. You might recognize the Metarex. There's actually 4 stages to his life cycle. He also uses underhanded tactics and fights. He also believes he's a reincarnated god. No, he isn't. Next we got Rerun by Eric Animations. She is a vengeful spirit of a dead animator who wants to kill those who wronged her, including the murderer of her kids and fiance's killer. Now, her name is actually Lilith. The EXE is named Rerun. She did have a family, children died, and fiance got murdered. She's actually inspired by Gene X, not Needle Mouse, somehow, apparently. She was set to appear in Versus Sonic.Exe 3.0. She desperately wants to move on, but her anger and fear prevent her from doing so. Damn, that sucks. Next, we go on to Requital by Commando Dev. He died one too many times due to Sonic's abuse. Like, think of it as like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and 3, where Tails accidentally goes off screen and hits the boundaries and dies. He got deformed from dying, and he then killed Sonic. He now goes around Marble Zone and kills anybody who looks like Sonic. He's actually 24 years old. He killed Sonic by dropping him from a high place, just like in Minecraft. And he fought BF and Pico in Versus Sonic.Exe. Well done. Very cool. Very cool. And with that, we have reached this end, and we are now reaching to the EXE Slayers. Now, do I really need to explain what an EXE Slayer is? I really don't. They're exactly what their title says. They either hunt or kill .exes, but the way they do about it is drastically different. It's a niche part that has truly made their staple within the EXE community. Once again, only noting a few due to them being a niche. First, we got the OG, the EXE Slayer, now owned by Repair Good. A Sonic from one of the multiple dimensions whose dimension was destroyed by demons who resembled EXEs. His sole purpose is to hunt them down. In case you couldn't tell, he's heavily inspired by the Doomslayer. He's been slaying EXEs for 2-3 years now. He's been credited with being the character that inspired the whole EXE Slayer genre. You can actually use weaker versions of Chaos moves like Chaos Spears and Chaos Blasts. He also cooks the meat of EXEs that he's killed. How hardcore. Next up, we got X the Heretic, made by Eoline Shiro. Hey, that's me! Hi, that's me! I'm not funny. Now, he's an EXE not made by his own choice. He's an upgraded and refined Metal Sonic that takes the appearance of the typical blood-crying fakers. He now fights against the EXEs as a heretic to the god within the EXE-verse. He uses an electric katana and an armed blaster. He can copy the EXE's abilities using biodata and data rings. He uses red warp rings to both combat and travel. He originally was based on sprite/fan animations and Sonic Reversal's Metal Sonic, and nowadays he's more based on Raiden from Metal Gear. Revengeance. Next we got Agent X by Demented HD. He's a sentient AI of a piracy screen that will either locate, study, or capture/eliminate different EXEs. He's actually wearing sunglasses, like you can't tell, but like those are not his eyes, those are just sunglasses. He actually owns a variety of gadgets. I think I saw him like using a pistol once. He has an established teleportation grid for all different EXE dimensions. He speaks like a Combine soldier from Half-Life, basically it sounds like his voice is going through a radio. And his color palettes mimics the Sega logo. Nice! It's always nice seeing those colors on. Next up, we got Lanny by Velna the Tangler. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, buddy, I am so sorry. Monica Jennings lost her parents and almost her brother to an EXE. Now called Lanny, she cuts down any evil EXE she comes in contact with and earns the title of EXE vs. Strongest Swordsman. Her Caliburn-like sword is named Alec. She uses multiple blade-like weapons depending on the opponent, so it could start from a kitchen knife to a literal sword, and she also has a form called Kill Switch. Now, oh god, what the fuck? Wait, what happened to my... Oh shit. Alright, so Beings of the Void. Who are they? These are in reference that have been dubbed as officially canon within the EXE fandom. These were mostly made by the people in charge like Shay and Jodo Boy, while some were made canon after their creations, all while introducing new concepts for the Sonic.Exe mythos. I like to call them the Big Four. First, we got the new and improved 2011 X by Jodo Boy. Sonic.Exe is part of the official remake of the Sonic.Exe fan game, which aims to be a reboot too of the original Sonic.Exe fan game continuity as a whole. It's intended to be accurate to be... wow. He's intended to be more accurate to the original story. He simply found the Sonic franchise interesting, hence why the Sonic stick. The trio victims actually have names, those being Alan, Dave, and Paul. He doesn't utilize a faker form, he just jumps right into the gore for it. He also writes "I am God" on your screen. The game is also playable on Game Jolt. You should give it a spin. It's very fun. Next we got Xenophanes or Xenophanes by Shay. The official retake of Sonic.Exe, part of Archive Y2K00. Oh god. Okay. Part of Archive Y2K0724. The story is still in development, however, we did have some fun facts about him. He's canonically 1,000 years old plus. He's 3'9", taller than most average Sonic characters, barely. His favorite food is actually chili burgers and fried chicken. I actually do I wonder what chili burgers are. I wonder if they taste good. Anyways, he likes technology and strong reactions. He hates apathy. He also likes to toy around with souls. Nothing new there. I also like the whole crystallized look he's got. I think that does play into his lore as an alien, but you know, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when the story comes out. Next, we got Lord X by Jodo Boy. Oh man, you appear a lot, dude. A future incarnation of 2011 X, reunited with you and wanting to show you how much it has grown since your first encounter. He made 7 Guardians, all extension of himself and based on a human emotion, mostly. Or like a human idea. He's part of the Sonic Solus series. His power is limitless, but limits himself to make his games more interesting. He's more of an alternate timeline future of 2011 X. Very cool. He's also one of the more recognized EXEs, and a main staple within the fandom. Next we go to his cursed son, EXE, made by Raven. This lad is the result of a botched attempt to creating a vessel by X/Lord-X, who cast EXE aside shortly after his creation. Literally just disowned him. Gone. Kaput. He got banished to another Earth for rebelling. Wow. He created his own version of Lord-X's guardians, dubbed the Harbingers. He actually has antimatter leaking out of his vessel. Like, that isn't just a weird shading choice, that's actually just part of his design. He actually owns a soul storage called the Black Sun, which kind of like holds all these, souls that end up leaking into like vessels. Although some of them don't turn out perfect. Some of them just turn into like an amalgamation of parts. Some of them turn into actual Sonic characters. Yeah, you get the gist. He's almost impossible to kill. He can only be like withheld by a very specific ritual that the OG X or Lord X can do. Lord X and EXE actually hate each other very much. There's actually a lot of fan art between both creators just depicting them having the worst time. He also plays chess very well, surprisingly. He doesn't know how to play instruments, as stated by Raven once, but he knows how to play chess. Nothing bad happened in 2022. Nothing bad. Do not think about it. Do not think about January 22. Nothing bad ever happened. He's also a playable character in Pillar Chase 2. Good on him. He's moving on in the world. Now, next we got Sonic, also done by Raven, made by Raven. Sonic, or 2017X, serves as a replacement for the current 17X reboot continuity. Specifically, this is the FNF version until Raven releases her current ideas for him. He's convinced that he's the real Sonic. Basically, he's a Sonic role player. He will kill anyone who doesn't think he's Sonic. His skin and fur is more akin to a porcelain doll, where it isn't really fur, but it's more just like a hard shell. If he'd meet the real Sonic, he'd actually have a mental breakdown. I also can't get past this dude without mentioning subterfuge. Yeah, I'm not reading that last part, you can sing it yourself. Wait, I don't remember putting this. Oh, god damn it. Now we get to the creations of the Void Children. Now, what are they specifically? These duo of characters are anomalies that are made from the same branch of beings of the Void, but not technically registered as canon. They simply go off the basics of the Void canon and tell their own separate stories. First up, we have this lad named Exiled the Fallen by Eoline Shiro. Hey, that's me again, hi! He's an alternate branch of the EXE/Faker from the VersusSonic.exe following the events of 2022. He now serves as a quote-unquote hero, fighting for both mortals and EXEs as the one they know as Exiled. His design evolved through the years, slowly showing changes from EXE to Exiled now as he is. He wields an axe made from just void matter. He's a lot more. He describes himself as more mortal than EXE. He just walks the path of a mortal person. He can actually summon his own version of like his interpretation of his past self, dubbed Harbinger EXE. So far as of we know, he's the only Void EXE to achieve a cyber form. He was originally made in Pulse and Sonic Pulse just out of boredom, and I'm like, wait, I could go along with this. There's a weird reason why he smells like blue cotton candy, but that's gonna be in his lore. He's actually the older brother to the next EXE on the list, which is Rascal the Sweet by Kaifu 1954. Now this is Lord X's unofficial and sweet daughter, a kind-hearted gal who tries to befriend everyone she meets. However, there might be something lurking under that gentle and friendly smile. She's fast, but not as fast as Sonic. She can use dark matter though, but it's very primitive. She's really weak in her base form. I'm not saying that she isn't capable, but she's barely making it out. She's more respected than exiled. She is Exiled's younger sister, and she also has another form called Mischief, which we will get into right now. Now, this is one of Rascal's alter egos who was born from her thoughts on what a strong father figure should be. While he only appears in Nights or Extreme Crisis, he's a dangerous and powerful entity. He isn't the only one, however. He uses a hatchet as a weapon, and he will protect Rascal like a father. He's one of the strongest in her family, supposedly. But he's also extremely rare to encounter. Her weakness is light. Wow, my voice is dying. I've been recording for 34 minutes. And with that, this concludes our lecture on Sonic.Exe and the many of his EXE variants. I'd like to talk about the others, but that'd mean I'd be here forever. Held by his will. Now, I will leave references in here, and most of these EXEs can be talked about in this PowerPoint. Okay. Now, most of the EXEs I talked about in this PowerPoint can be found here on the Sonic Oddities wiki. You can check it out for yourself. I got all the rundown on most of the Sonic.Exe lore. I'm just here to tell the same thing, but not as funny. So with that, I leave dead. Oh, wait, well, no. There's one more thing. Very special thanks to the EXE community for making wonderful takes on the Sonic.Exe mythos. Y'all write so amazing. Your writing is so good. Unlike mine, I am just dying at this point. It is like 12 in the morning writing this, saying this, recording this. Seriously, you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work, and with that, I am officially dead.